Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another Title Tuesday. I got Eric Downing with me again today from Hawker Title, Hawker Law, bringing us all the value, all the knowledge that we need for this title stuff. Title Tuesday, here we go. So today, Eric, we're going to talk a little bit about names. So names on a purchase agreement, how important they are, how important it is to be able to read them, that type of stuff. So there's going to be two names that you definitely need to have on the purchase agreement, and possibly even more if there's more people on the deed and stuff like that. If there's more than one seller. But we're just going to kind of talk about this in terms of basically you need a buyer and a seller. You need those signatures. You need those names to be clear and legible and stuff. So Eric, just when it comes to names on a purchase agreement, just kind of what's the importance behind that, and that it actually is kind of the name that is on the deed, or so you guys know, hey, what's a middle initial can make a huge difference and stuff like this.
Absolutely, yeah. And so thanks for having me again. We very much enjoy being a part of this and helping everyone understand title a little bit more. So names are really, really important, and you hit on a couple really important parts of it, such as legible, making sure that we can read it. The title company needs to know who is the seller, so it's always really good that if you're creating those signature lines on your purchase agreement and you're expecting someone to sign, make sure you've got a print here option underneath it so that they can print their name legibly. There's a lot of signatures that we can't read, and although we're going to get title work back that tells us who's actually in title, we want to make sure that matches with what the purchase agreement. So it'll just save conversations and headaches later if it is legible. The other part is, making sure you know who the actual decision maker is. That's always important, right? Anytime you're selling something, buying something, you want to make sure you're communicating with the proper party. And so, when you're trying to get into an agreement with somebody to buy real estate, make sure you're talking to the person that is in title, and make sure you find out how many people are in title, because you might be talking to one of them, but if your purchase agreement is only signed by one and there's three people in title, when we get the title work back, we're going to need an amendment. So, then the part about middle initials or how their name actually is in title, just ask them, do you remember or do you have the paperwork from when you purchased the property? We really need to see how you took vested ownership of the property in your deed so that we can put that on the purchase agreement. You can certainly submit a purchase agreement with John Smith as the seller, but if we get title work back and it's John Albert Smith in title, we're going to need a amendment to the purchase agreement to show that John Albert Smith is the one who signed the purchase agreement and he's the one that's in title. So it's just really important that you have that conversation. Don't just guess and ask them, don't go with short names or nicknames or anything like that. Make sure you're getting exactly what is listed. If they know it, if they have no idea, we're going to cross that bridge when we get there, and we can ask for the amendment if they don't remember whether they used a middle initial or a full middle name or anything like that.
Yeah. So, and this is when it comes to names too, this is always something that I always make sure that I ask my sellers, and this is where I'm like, hey, I want you to make sure that you're honest with me because I want to make this process go as smoothly as possible. Is there anybody else that might be listed on the deed or on, that is under the owner of the property? And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's actually me and my 7 brothers and sisters and things like that. That tends to happen. So making sure you ask that question, and there's a lot of times there's an ex-wife that's still on the deed, or somebody that maybe passed away and stuff. There's all those types of situations. So this is really after you definitely have built rapport with your seller and you have a good standing with them, asking those types of questions to make sure that you just have a heads up on what's going on, and then you can give the title company a heads up on what's going on too, and then you can work together to kind of solve that and make sure you have all the signatures that you need. And that type of stuff. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was just going to say, and remember, kind of to your point, whoever you're talking to, obviously they may have an interest. That's your hope. They may have an interest in selling the property. But as you alluded, if there's multiple people behind them that are also in title, I always think good first. So I think, everyone has good intentions, but there could be a reason why the person you're communicating with wants to get rid of the property, and they may not fully understand that they actually need to make sure everyone in title is on board with that as well, because we get into those situations a lot where somebody submits a purchase agreement and they've got Bob is the buyer, but then we find out in title that Bob and his 7 siblings are also in title, and 3 of the siblings have no interest in selling the property for various reasons. And so you'll just save yourself a lot of headache if you have those early conversations, as you're alluding to, and just saying, be honest with me, because title's not going to let this close without everyone being on board with selling it that is currently in title on the property.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then big tip too, just like Eric said, make sure that people can read kind of what's going on. You're gonna have your sellers sign that. You're gonna be signing it. that type of thing. But make sure you have an area on there where they can print their name, so it can at least that just alleviates one less step of sending it over to title. Be like, oh, okay, here we go. We can start it now because we actually know what this says. So thanks a lot for joining me.
And it's important to make sure that everything is legible. So address, names, purchase price, all of those things. So just make sure you're taking care and concern, and when you're writing stuff down on a purchase agreement, that other people are going to be able to read your handwriting.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So thanks a lot, Eric. Really appreciate it. And this has been another Title Tuesday. We'll see you guys next week.